Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I want to talk about episode 1 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, or Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma. This was a really fun first episode, and it's quite frankly a series that I hadn't actually pinpointed as one that I wanted to maybe talk about or even really watch. I just kind of watched it on the off chance while I was waiting for another episode 1 to debut, and this one really won me over as being very fun and kind of absurdist. I love the emphasis on the culinary arts and everything like that, and it was just a really fun first episode. I don't know if I'm going to be picking this one up for episodic reviews. That'll remain to be seen as the episodes continue, but I did want to talk about this first episode because I thought it was really interesting. You're basically dealing with the main character, Soma Yukihira, who, he works for his dad in this restaurant, this eatery called Yukihira, of course, and it's fun that, at the beginning they're kind of having a food battle, see who can make the best bowl of rice, fried rice in this case, and he's got one of his schoolmates, this girl Mayu, who's going to be doing the judging of the contest, and I mean, they make food, the taste of food and the flavor of food, out to be something borderline orgasmic. It's that hilarious. That is when he isn't making really just disgusting sort of machinations, food combinations. In this case, there's an emphasis on his slathering peanut butter over sliced up squid chunks and how bad that is. He actually tries to feed it to Mayu after she, does the taste test thing, and turns out the father is the better of the two cooks in the restaurant and such, and he really has a passion. He is a culinary artiste, but he has a passion to keep this restaurant open. And after this whole contest business is done, we find that there is this woman who's been coming and harassing them because she wants to use that land. They want to demolish all the buildings in the neighborhood and build this big, posh, multi-story hotel. And so she's trying to chase them out, and they actually go to the extent she has some of her muscle men, break in after hours and trash all the meat and all the food supply and the fridges in the back and everything. And she comes calling again to put the kid to the test. It turns out the father was away for the day and he wasn't going to be opening the restaurant. And so it's kind of left to the kid. He's by himself, and he has to fend off this woman's harassment. She, comes packing saying, look, I want a delicious meat dinner. You have to serve what your customer asks for and all this kind of stuff. She knows that all the meat has been, completely destroyed, but he pulls a fast one because, as it turns out, he went shopping for breakfast. He had picked up some bacon, and there was some potatoes lying around, and he ends up making a plate for this woman that was born out of a mistake, from customer's back, where he had made this plate up of bacon, potatoes, something like that, and he hadn't separated the food on the plate well enough, and so this concoction, this flavor concoction of the mixture of food, made him think, hey, maybe I can turn a fast one and make this an actual meal. And he ends up making this almost bogus pork roast is what it looks like. It is effectively the bacon wrapped around the potatoes, and there's onions and, scallions or something giving it flavor. And it's just really, really intriguing. I mean, this character, he whips off his armband and he puts it around as a bandana on his head. He kind of looks like an offshoot character of something from like One Piece or Naruto, that kind of situation. And that would have put me off from right off, but I'm glad I actually did watch the episode because he ends up making such an, again, to call back on it, like borderline orgasmic meal. It's not even borderline. These people, in their minds, they are, their clothes are ripped off and they're in ecstasy just tasting this meal that he has made, impromptu though it may be, and made, effectively forced this woman to promise to leave their restaurant alone. She likes the taste and the flavor of the meal. He just concocted on a whim that much. And even all of her muscle men, they're like chomping at the bit for this. And there's this whole sequence where, in mind, like I say, their clothes are stripped off. They're like, just in ecstasy from the flavor of this particular food. And to me, that it was just absolutely absurd. It was hilarious, but it also was like, hell yes, fist pumpingly, because Soma had made this food and gotten her to agree to leave the restaurant alone. Now, the father, as I say, has been away, and finally, after he sends this woman and her muscle men packing, the father returns, and he lays this bombshell that for 2 or 3 years he's going to be going away. He had a meeting with a friend of his about working in some sort of pseudo partnership, and he's going away. He's going to close the restaurant. And so Soma's like, what? He's in hell. He wants to, he just saved this restaurant. He's so passionate about keeping it going and all this kind of stuff. He fended off this woman's, solicitations of trying to buy out or, force them to sell their property and all this stuff. And then the father's like, well, I'm just going to close it for 2 or 3 years. But here's what you're going to do. Because, of course, the question is, being that Soma is very near to finishing out high school, what is he going to do? The father's talking about, well, while I'm away, I'll send you money so you can survive and all this stuff. But the restaurant is going to be off limits. So what is Soma going to do? And effectively, the father has decided to hook Soma up with this elite culinary academy, whereby he can get high school credits if he finishes out his term in this particular school. But the problem with this school is they are like elitist to the most nth degree, in that, you have kids crying and on their knees, and even a father begging to pay the schoolmasters or something to not, send their kids packing, because apparently only the top 10%, of the entire academy ever graduated. And so it's going to be, Soma has this whole new sort of having to, go into this culinary academy and do the best possible work he can do, all the while hoping he'll graduate. And we see sort of toward the end of the episode, we're introduced to one of the first teachers or schoolmasters, this lady Arina, who is, she's kind of in this waterfall when we first see her, and it turns out this is all sort of in the mind, because she's like then clocked on the head by a 1950s jukebox. And this is her equating to her class, one of the students, a dish one of the students had made, how bad it is. That it feels like she was very calm, she was very peaceful, but then it was brutally interrupted by getting smacked over the head with a giant jukebox. That's how badly it came out. And so she's going to be somebody not to reckon with, and a very fierce judge of whatever dishes Soma is potentially going to be making and such like that. And I just like that idea. He thinks he's so elite in the dishes and the prowess he possesses, but it seems like he's going to be going into an even more absurd situation in this elitist culinary school where, everybody that's in there can potentially make things at that level and higher. And so it is going to present a challenge for him, definitely. And toward the, end credits, basically all throughout the end credits, we're seeing other characters that are going to appear in the series. As I say, I don't know if I'm going to be picking this one up for episodic reviews, but I was really, I thoroughly enjoyed this first episode for what it was, and I am kind of curious to see what happens to Soma from here. Kind of that over arc of will he succeed in this food wars aesthetic of studying the culinary arts and perfecting his craft? Will he be able to, through all of the naturally absurdist and hilarious things set to ensue, will he be able to actually best this culinary school and be one of those 10% who does in the end graduate it? And will he be able to call back on the restaurant? Will he be able to keep it open? Will something happen in the interim where this woman who's trying to, demolish it and build up this hotel, will she have her way while the father's away? Or will the father, turn the tables? All these kinds of questions. They're very minute questions in probably how the, story's going to flow from here. It's probably going to be very comedic and, as I say, absurdist. But there are underlying questions that I am curious about. And so I might be checking in on it once again or twice again in any case, and maybe I'll follow up with episodic reviews. It'll all remain to be seen with other episodes coming out and such like that, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 1, if you've seen it, of Shokugeki no Soma, or Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, and Soma's potential adventure in the culinary arts and perfecting his craft and all that stuff, and how many more sort of meal concoction maladies will he potentially make based off of that peanut butter and squid, the horrible, disgusting, as it says like many times in the episode, concoction. So yeah, otherwise I hope this video finds you well. That'll be pretty much it for me on this, and I'll catch you later. Peace.